Good evening and welcome to show number 24 in our series. We had a bit of a break last month, but we're all back fighting fit. With the exception of poor Dodsey, he's busy working his craft on is it the involved in the sailing, isn't it, or the triathlon, isn't it? He's knee deep or waist deep in water
Yeah, we
filming.
literally
Yeah,
need to put that picture up of him, don't we? Yeah.
yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
He's a master of his environment, isn't he? Great stuff. But with us tonight we have Sarah, Damo, and Ian. Good evening, Sarah. How are you?
Oh, yeah. I'm not too bad. I was relieved that it got cooler, and then it got hotter again, and it's going to get hotter again still. And yeah, it was. I missed the worst of the heat waves because I was in Greece, and for a little while, when it was 40 degrees here, it was actually cooler in Kos than here. So
Sounds a bit of an oxymoron, that, doesn't it?
I
Yeah,
know.
in
Yeah,
Greece.
yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And I now look at the landscape outside, and it is similar to the landscapes that I see in Cos in the middle of summer. Um, and hunting for wildlife can be a little tricky at times when I'm out there. But one thing I always do is my Cos cat of the day. I don't know if any of you saw it.
Come on, we got a couple of cat pictures. Of course, we have to have cat pictures.
Yeah,
Tell
everyone
us
has.
about a couple of them.
So, yeah, it's something I started doing back in the pandemic, really sending a little postcard to people I cared about who couldn't actually get away from home. And one person in particular, my godchild Quinn, who adores cats and loves photography. And I love seeing the feral cats in cars, although they're not as feral as they used to be. They're now being looked after an awful lot more by the communities. Many have become pets, but you have an awful lot at some of the historical places. So I do have a couple of pictures there from when we went along to the Asclepion, which is what I say is my annual visit to the hospital. The Asclepion was where Asclepius and Hippocrates worked and taught, and you can see the original structures of the old hospital, the ward areas, and the baths. They had thermal baths, which I think that should be brought into every hospital. I think that would be lovely. But it's all guarded by cats. Every castle has a cat. And I did find a few that day, but one in particular was round by the museum area where you can learn an awful lot about all the different philosophies that made up ancient Greece and the ways of thinking, and how people like Hippocrates came to this view of a holistic approach towards medicine, something that I think modern medics need to get back to. And there's a wonderful cat there who gave me a real sphinx pose with the early morning light, because we went when it first opened at 8 a.m. straight in there, because once it gets to 10 o'clock it's too hot and you have to hide and have ice cream. So yeah, we got there when there was just a little bit of light shining on this beautiful grey cat, and outlined her like a sphinx outside the museum, which I thought was rather appropriate. But I also captured from the other side where she's just lying down. Oh, yeah, they sleep a lot. They're very intelligent. They stay in the shade when the sun's out.
It's
Sarah, there's
great.
two shots.
I was just going to
Sorry.
say, who needs AI or encyclopedias? We've got Sarah, fond of all these people. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yes, Ian.
I was to say, just looking through the folder, there's two shots I really like. The cat on the beach, either sunrise or sunset. Those colours in the background are lovely. And then I really like your panel of four images at the different times of the day in the same composition.
And do you
I
know
think that
what?
works really well.
Taken at exactly the same place.
Yeah.
So we stay in an area of the island called Keflos, which is pretty much everything west of the airport. But there is the old town of Keflos, And that's right up on a hill with a castle. Beautiful old place. Comes winding down a hill. We stay at the bottom of the hill. With lovely Stamatier. And in the bay, there's a huge bay, the Bay of Keplos, and Kamari Bay. So it's Kamari Beach, and right at the end near the harbour, there's a fabulous little restaurant. I'll give a shout out to them, called Pharos, and they're wonderful people. He's always incredibly impressed with how well my husband speaks Greek. So he's one of the few people who will actually launch into a conversation with him in Greek. But they do look after cats. They take in cats. They will help rehome kittens, and they do quite a lot of welfare. And there are always cats there. But it's just got this beautiful view, and what you get, it's not the direct sunset. The sunset is happening over the other side of the island, and is very, very impressive, especially if you go to another taverna called Theologos. But you get those beautiful colours coming up on the horizon. It's that mirrored view of the colours. So you get the peaches and pinks and purples and going into the turquoise blues, and it can all merge into the sea. And then golden sands. Some parts of the beach are pebbly, but outside of Pharos, it's golden sands. And so the square with the four, that was very much a little message, a little shout out to my friend Linda Ride, who always does incredible iPhone postcards that she sends back to everyone at SheClicks, and she puts them out on all her socials as well, from all her travels around the world. And it was literally over the course of one meal, Simon picked the exact perfect table. I didn't have to move an inch from where I was having my glorious meal, and I just put my iPhone onto square crop, and lined up as best I could those shades over the sunbeds. And as the light decreased and decreased, and the colours were going from the pastels through to the rich blues, and then the lights take over and bring up the light on the sand, I took those shots and put them together. So yeah, all shot on iPhone, edited first in LR Mobile, just to get a bit of a balance, and then I'll put them together in a collage, and I'll do a little bit of work on Snapseed, give them a bit of extra border, and that's your postcard home.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Damo, what have you been up to last month? How are you?
Very good, thank you very much. Lots and lots of things, and I've got stuff that will do this show and the next show. So, but I've got some pictures, basically just a couple of pictures with my iPhone that I took of a National Trust property where the ducks lined up very nicely for me. So that was quite a nice one. So they're all lined up. And then also selfridges, doing a little bit of a play around with reflections and selfridges. And they built a big cardboard box tower next to selfridges, which in some ways I first thought would spoil the view, but now you can play around with more reflections and get the tower in the reflection. So had a great fun doing all that. And I also went to I've got a couple of pictures of the Coffin Museum, which is really good as well. So that's done by Birmingham Heritage, and it's an insight into Birmingham's past. They didn't make coffins, they made the metal fixtures for coffins, and so it's quite interesting. And they made shrouds as well, and I enjoy going around that. It may sound a bit macabre, but it's got lots and lots of interest by the Birmingham Heritage, and with a good guide I was able to get some good pictures, so I really enjoyed it. And that was me done.
You know your photography's died when you're shooting coffin makers, don't you?
Oh, I know. That's a good
come
one.
on, we need better puns than that here, dear, oh dear.
That's a good one.
Oh, okay. You're keeping your light under the bushel again, Damo, on the BBC, or plastered all over the BBC again?
Yes, I got a couple of BBC, but I always find you get all excited about it, but I see a lot of people do even better than me on the BBC. So I'm always grateful that I might have got one or two shots up there. But some people are very professional. I probably think they camp out in the morning and they camp out at night just to get the pictures.
Yeah.
The duck shot's great though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was very lucky. When you're out with when I'm out with the grandchildren, you have literally 2 or 3 seconds to get a picture, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. You can't pose it. But those ducks just lined up nicely for me for that.
Yeah, they're all pointing inwards, and you get like a natural
I know.
triangle then between the top of the building and the duck.
There's a special technique. It's called LUCK. It works really well.
Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one I've heard of. Is that the one with the Y on the end?
Yes, the Y on it as well.
Ian, how have you been doing?
Very well. I've finally got a computer that works now, so which is nice. That was a disaster. 8 weeks without a computer when you're into photography that tested my patience at times. But over a month ago now, I went to Wales and West, and as if spending money on a computer wasn't enough, I ended up buying a camera as well. So
You gave it
I'm one more thing, and then it's divorce, I think.
Serious gas. That's what it is. Serious gas.
I didn't want to have to buy a computer, to be fair. My MacBook was brilliant, but it died.
What did you get in the end, Ian?
I bought an R6 Mark II because I didn't go to the Wales and West show with the intention of buying a camera. I was suckered into the show deal, and it was a good deal. And I spoke to Canon, and I was really surprised because I went to the stand and I said, "Well, talk to me about the R6 Mark II and the R3." And I was kind of expecting them to kind of push the Mark III, the latest and greatest. And he said, "Do you do any video?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, you want the R6 Mark II?" Just like that. And I was like, "Oh, but is it, is the R6 Mark III not better?" He said, "No, the autofocus is marginally better, but nothing significant."
It's a little bit better.
So
everything's just a little bit better with it, with internal stability and
What,
stuff.
what was the saving, Ian, from the Mark II to the Mark III? A few £100?
Oh, more than that. I mean, I saved £700 on the Mark II off the retail price. It was a phenomenal show deal. It really was. And I didn't buy it that day. Yeah, I didn't buy it that day. I kind of did the research in the evening, and I could use SD cards. If you go to the Mark III, you need CF Express. And if anyone's looked at memory recently, you'll cry.
Yeah.
I don't have CF Express. I do have SD cards. I could use my batteries from my 5D Mark III with the R6 Mark II, whereas I can't on the R6 Mark III because they need more power. So everything just kind of lined up, and stuck on the credit card, and you only live once.
There's an interesting thing I saw about the shortage in memory. We're all saying about how memory prices have gone up. There's a new AI center being built somewhere in Nevada, okay, and it's using memory in stacks and racks and putting it all up, okay, and the number of memory chips it needs is the equivalent of 13.4 PlayStation 5s. So Sony can't get any to make PlayStation 5, so PlayStation 5 prices are going through the roof. And that's just one AI center. All of the major people are trying to build their own. So this is why memory prices they've gone up by 800%. So
I ordered my Mac Mini, and I had to wait 8 weeks for it. But in the time that I was waiting, if I ordered it now, it would cost the same specification would cost £600 more. So I got lucky in that sense. Even I didn't want to have to buy a new computer, but luckily I kind of did it before Apple did their price hike, which was fortuitous.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with the prices on the phones and the new stuff. I'm glad I bought mine, let's say 3-4 months ago. Okay, great. I personally had a holiday down at Bembridge, and we were in a yurt, which was an experience, shall we say. I've never been in a yurt before. And it was lovely. Isle of Wight was fine. We had a great time going around to got some great shots. The thing that surprised me, it's down pat with you, Ian, was the depth of the tides. We were looking at 4-meter tide depths. So when we looked out in the morning, you couldn't see the tide. It was out there somewhere. And in the evening, it was literally lapping up against the shore where we were. It was quite impressive. And you can understand why people get caught out in staying on a sandbar where you think you're fine, and all of a sudden you look around and you're surrounded by water. Very strange. But the Isle of Wight Really
Yeah, I'll
good.
give a shout out to, I'll send you the link, Martin, but I've been watching a channel recently because I love the Isle of Wight. We've been on holiday several times, but there's a YouTube channel called Available Light, and they have a shop. I want to say Newport or Cowes, I'm probably going to get it wrong, but he's a professional photographer full time. They run a shop selling prints, and they've started doing YouTube videos. Just, it's worth checking out because it's really, if you like the Isle of Wight and you're into photography, because he does talk about kind of what he's doing and technique and stuff. It really, really interesting aspect to
Great
it.
place to go. Lots of different types. You go to, if you want, you can go to the Needles if you want some landscape. You've got Osborne House. You've got, the regattas. Yeah, fascinating place. We'll definitely go back. Okay, right. Let's move on to our news items. Okay, so tonight's news items. Sarah wants to talk about her involvement with SheClicks. Sarah, what are SheClicks?
So we've just had our 8th birthday, as it were. SheClicks was originally founded by Angela Nicholson back in 2018, and it's grown and developed over the years in ways that I think Angela had hoped for, but also in ways that she hadn't quite foreseen. But also technology's been growing and developing all that time as well. And Angela very much wanted to look at where the next step was for our community. We've had our own website for many years, which Angela was doing herself. And then what she has done is migrated over to WordPress so that she can create many more features. And within our website, which is www.sheclicks.net, there is a members area for all you women out there. It's completely free to join. All you need to do is pop in your email address and create a password, and that will give you access to the members area, and you'll find our new feature, which is called SheClicks Connect. And this was really in response to SheClickers for quite a while now. Actually, they were having increasing frustrations with Facebook, and I know, as in Ian has said, he doesn't use Facebook at all, and I know increasingly there are more and more people who don't, and even those who were using Facebook for our SheClicks forum to chat and literally connect with others, were finding that they were still getting frustrated with adverts that might pop up on other things, or Facebook just kind of trying to send them down a rabbit hole. So it's been moved over onto this new forum, and Angela says it's created following a community-wide survey and in consultation with focus groups and beta testers, ensuring it was shaped by the needs of the community. It gives SheClickers a dedicated space to connect beyond social media, making conversations, regional groups, and events easy to find and engage with. So on it, we've got things now where there's a community calendar, so you can have a look at everything coming up in the next couple of months and see who might have listed events. When I talk about events, it's like our meetups. Last weekend, we had one at Bushy Park, which I hosted, had just over 20 people there. So for our anniversary, which was absolutely brilliant. And anyone can hold a meetup. It just has to be somewhere you know quite well and you love photographing. And you get in touch with Angela, and she puts together an event listing with you, and it goes on the calendar, and other people can find it. So everything's broken down into the areas that people are. So you can go into Connect and click on me where you are, and find. So for my region, it's Southeast England, and you might look for London. And then anyone can post in there to say, I'd really like to connect with other people in my area. I live in such and such. So it's a nice, safe space. It's away from all the things that people have grown to dislike about social media, but our Facebook group is still there for those that really like using it. So we're sharing all the information and all our photos through there.
Okay, is it female only?
I'm afraid it is. It is.
But if you're male, still go to the website and have a look under the gallery, which I've just been flicking through now. It's amazing, the standard of photography. I mean, there is one shot in there I'm not so sure about, from some woman called Sarah, and Brighton Pier and some starlings. Not sure about that one, but the rest of the images are really good.
I tell you what, the WordPress is very good as well. I mean, I use WordPress on my blog, and I've noticed now that if you're really, really good at making sure that you get the SEO sorted, you tag, I'm finding, because AI is so desperately scraping everything to find new information, a website is its first sort and if you've got it properly set up like yours has, and it just clicks in, it pulls all the information. Because I've noticed it's not a lot, but I've had 2 or 3 inquiries come through on my site for various things, where people have been searching, and my site comes up first for Birmingham pictures and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
which is really, credit to the how my webmaster set it up, and how you just set up the website so that and I've noticed on your website, the SheClicks, it's set up very, very well, because I've noticed that the way that the wording of it is really clever.
Yeah, well, I think, with Angela's background in journalism for many, many decades, in different areas, she had most of her own magazine, Camera Jabber. She was part of Amateur Photographer. She was their editor for a
Yeah.
long time. And she still writes a lot of reviews and other things for various magazines, for brands. So yeah, we work with a lot of different people across the board, and she's got a great developer actually working with her. It's too much for her to do on her own. So shout out to Alex. He's been doing amazing work. In a sense, as a community, we're still almost beta testing things. So we've even got a little category of where people can give feedback and say, I'm not liking how this is working, or what do you think about doing this? And we've had a few things come out of that. So there's a few of us that are always going on about Share Mondays that we do, and so we've actually now got a picture of the week challenge, which the main thing about it is helping people develop certain skills about critiquing their own work, but also look at those skills of sort of how you might critique other people's work, and actually being a judge, because picking out of hundreds of pictures each week to find your sort of top 4 and a winner, it helps you develop the skills you need for looking at your own work. But it also just gets people talking and communicating, and you develop more ideas. Getting a feedback from somebody is lovely. I was on the shortlist for that last week, and the feedback from Elena was for picture of the week. And the feedback I got from Elena was it was really perfect. She'd really seen exactly what I was wanting to achieve with my image. And then we've got some other things, another suggestion that have come in of edit something your way. So every month somebody posts either a JPEG, or if they're willing, a raw image, and says, go on, have a look, have a go. So that's another challenge. And again, it's developing skills, creating connections, I think breaking down barriers, introducing new things like different creative techniques. And I just, so it's keeping things growing. But we're trying not to isolate the people who just don't want to be on social media. And I do understand that. But what I don't want to happen is for the people who find certain sites that are great for blogs, so everything's quite wordy to begin with. I don't want them to feel alienated. And I'd love to hear from anybody with dyslexia and other neurodiversity, how they are finding it, because I know myself, I have trouble with way things are listed at times. of that I'm just skipping over all of them and not finding quite where I want to go to. But you see, that's feedback I can then put in. So as a whole group, we grow, hopefully.
Good, good. At that point, I'm going to use this point to say, if you're interested in our show, please give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up. See the logos here, and I'll put down on the bottom here about where you go to communicate with Flashbang Wallet. Okay, I think we'll move on to some gear items that we've seen that people want to talk about. We have a couple of gear items for you to look at tonight. The first one, which I thought was really neat, spotted by Damo, is a little like, you've seen these tracking shots where the camera moves steadily along. Well, Damo spotted something which is almost ideal for your iPhone, isn't it, Damo?
Yes, I mean it's like a little motorized car to put your iPhone on so it can run along and take a moving picture for you. I don't know how useful it is, but caught my imagination. I quite like little techie gadgets, but some of them you use for a few. It's like certain things you buy, like a lens ball. It's really fun for a couple of weeks, and then you put it away and then forget about it. And so the dolly looks really fun to use for a couple of weeks, and then I'll probably forget about it. But it looks quite interesting because it's set up on a picnic bench here, and the picture shows, and then it just runs along and takes a picture. So yeah, it's all a bit of nothing really, but I didn't think it was that expensive for what it is. Although I could probably get a motorized car and do the same sort of thing. But,
I'd love to try this actually because I could imagine not for iPhone, but if I mounted my Osmo on it, one of the cool things about the Osmo is you can do motion lapse, so you can set a start point and an end point, which is really cool. But then if you could have it move at the same time and then it's panning at the same time for a time lapse, I think would look really cool. And it would work well with a time lapse because one of the disadvantages of it is that it makes a slight motor noise. So if you're just doing video, then you've got to bear in mind you might be able to hear the motor. Whereas with time lapse, you haven't got to worry about the sound. So I'd love to give it a try actually. But you need a flat surface.
It's where you get the clamp for the gizmo. So it's
well, it looks like, by looking at the picture though, if you look where the iPhone's mounted, to me that looks like a standard 3/4 thread. So I reckon you just unscrew that mount for the iPhone and just screw the Osmo straight in. Yeah, I'd love to give it a try. If they're watching, send us a review copy.
Yeah.
You need a smooth surface.
How much is it? 80 odd quid? Well, it's not.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
£75,
And how it's remote controlled? So is it controlled from the iPhone?
I
Then
don't
if the iPhone's on the gimbal, how do you control it? You need another one.
It looks like it's got controls on the side, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's worth a
neat
punt.
little idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, Ian. But while you're talking about iPhones, and it's totally off the subject, I've got the Canon R6 Mark II, and the connection to the iPhone is perfect. Have you done it?
I've not tried it. No.
That's absolutely wonderful because you can do remotes. You can do remote at quite a distance with it, and it's brilliant.
Okay,
So
that's interesting.
it's
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting with the R6. It's the little things that have surprised me, and it's not the autofocus. Although it's impressive, it's not been the standout feature for me. It's little things like doing a long exposure. I don't need a remote. I can go into bulb mode and set the timer in the camera. 2-second timer.
Do that all on your iPhone.
Well, I don't even need the phone. I can just do it straight on the camera. I mean,
have a look. All these little gizmos for the iPhone are wonderful, but that's really good.
Okay, well, I'll put the links in there. People can go and have a look at it. But yeah, it does look an interesting bit of kit. It depends on how smooth. It can actually, looking at this picture, you can actually turn the wheels off center so it goes in a curve rather than just up and down a straight line.
Oh, now that I'd like.
That would be interesting. I might have a look at one of those. Yes, let's get on to the client. Go on to the company and see if they send us a test review copy, and then we can give them a full and frank review. The other one. And again, if the manufacturer would like to send us a review model, we're happy to have a chat. Is the new Sony, what is it, the SV10, is it?
It's the RX10.
RX10 V 5. Okay. Yeah. Who wants to talk about this, Sarah?
So less than a year after they said that it was discontinuing the whole thing, they've brought out a new one. And I'm actually really happy about this because I talk about bridge cameras as being a very accessible way for people to get into digital photography and learn about it, and learn how to photograph from the very basics up, before they move on and decide exactly what main body they want and what lenses they want. Because a bridge camera will allow you to do anything, from the macro to telephoto. And it's similar spec to the original. So from macro all the way up to 600 millimeters. So it's not as much as things like the Panasonic, the Lumix, which birders love. But you've got the same processors and sensors as you've got in many of Sony's flagship mirrorless cameras. And it comes with a 1-inch stacked sensor that I've heard people are very, very excited about to see how that does. 24 megapixels, but as sometimes we've said before, is the amount of megapixels isn't always the be all and end all. It can be good for low light, and I think also that the body of it has been redesigned, so instead of looking more like a DSLR and quite a big body, it's been restyled to fit within the sort of alpha range. So it's a slightly smaller body, and I really want to go and actually get my hands on it and give it a try, because a lot of people with disability find a bridge camera really useful. So I do think it's worth looking at. The big downside is price.
Yes, it's very expensive, Sarah. That's the thing, and you're in a very crowded marketplace with that. So, and I noticed that the other disadvantage you say about people with disability handling it's still bulky, and so it's quite a bulky camera still. I mean, it sounds like you're a real enthusiast. So I suppose this camera really suits the enthusiast who's had the use of this camera before. To me, I would find it be a bit restrictive. 'Cause I don't think you can interchange the lens, can you?
Well, but that's part of the point. So
Yeah,
for a lot of people with disability, changing lenses is very difficult. I find it very difficult to change lenses in
yeah,
the
yeah.
field. So I have 2 camera bodies, and I choose the lenses that I am most likely to be using on an outing, and they
Okay.
go on the cameras before I leave the house and on to everything else. And
So you
then
have to. So with this camera, you have to. I mean, it looks really good, but at the price, you have to stick into 300 millimeters. So it's quite impressive, the zoom, but you might
it's
want
100
to.
millimeters.
Yeah.
So it's great for wildlife photography and
Is it
sport.
the pictures they show on these on the you look on the side, the pictures look really impressive.
Oh yeah, and I know that one of our SheClickers, another Sarah Williams, is actually in Wales. She has recently stepped up and gone on to Canon, with the R7. But she was using the Sony for years, and she only really moved on to mirrorless ones because her Sony was so old, and they announced it was discontinued. But she's been, getting loads of shortlists and wins in Amateur Photographer magazine and other things like that for images with a bridge camera. And people within the group were so surprised that this whole range of images, from landscapes to macro to creative artistic portraits of wildlife, all done on a bridge camera. I really do think it's a great way for people to come into digital photography. And I know for one person who it hasn't got both limbs, they find a bridge camera on a gimbal really useful.
Having said that, the final line is the guy who reviewed it says the best bridge camera he's used. So however much you try and put it down, it obviously is a good camera.
Ian, you're not quite as sure.
I disagree with the idea that this is a way into photography at £2,200. that is not a way into photography. That's an expensive way into photography, but it's an impressive piece of kit, no doubt, no question about it. And you know, I have a nervousness about super zooms because they tend to be usually only sharp at like the middle apertures, and in the middle zoom range they tend to be soft at either end. And when I did a bit of research on this, actually they've said that the lens is very, very good. But I would just say, you know, with everything there's a compromise. So, you know, if this is something you're interested in, just, you know, just bear in mind that it is a fixed lens. So if you get it and you find that you love landscapes, if 24mm is not wide enough for you because you've really got into landscapes, you can't do anything about it without replacing the camera. So it's just something to bear in mind, you know. And it's a kilogram body. It's not a light camera. It's a kilogram in weight. So,
but compared to a camera body and, you know, really good prime lenses, if you were doing some of the more wide angle landscape photography, or you know, actual 600mm lens, it is a lot lighter. So yeah, you know, there are compromises, but it's this case of there is something for everyone. I would love to see cameras like this being more affordable. I do think, you know, where we are with things like you know, everything is more expensive because there's just a shortage of things, a shortage of everything that we need to go into those components, and that's pushed prices up. You know, it's absolutely worth people looking for secondhand, used, older versions of the Sony. It's still, you know, still good to try out, and you know, also have a look at the Panasonic. But I think I would say the same as with any camera: get your hands on it first. And I always say that to anyone with a physical impairment, to absolutely get their hands on something. You need to get into a shop or up to one of the shows where they've got it, and get your hands on it.
I do wonder whether you know, Sony have spec'd this camera too much, and that then pushes the price up. But Sony might argue that it doesn't cost that much more to put these things in. I mean, it does 30 frames a second blackout free burst. Now, you know, what I'm trying to suggest is if you did want it to be more of an entry into photography, then maybe just strip the specs down a little bit. You know, it does 4K video at 120p. Now, as an entry into photography, do you really need that kind of level of spec? Maybe, you know. So
I'm not saying it's just an entry into photography. I'm saying that, you know, I've always loved bridge as an entry to photography. So, but there's nothing to say you have to leave bridge. If you are getting images with a bridge camera that you absolutely adore, I don't think people should feel like they have to get, you know, various different camera bodies and a whole range of lenses. I think people are often pressured into that. And I just think it's something for people who may have limitations physically, or limitations in where they live. They might not have a lot of space. People who are going out walking a lot and going longer distances and don't want to take a huge backpack with all the lenses and everything with them, or they're going out cycling, and people who love bird and wildlife photography often just want a bridge camera. So yeah, the price is a lot, but I like the fact that Sony is saying just because this is a bridge camera doesn't mean you can't take some of the best photos you could ever want to take.
I mean, to be fair, if you were to spec out a Canon mirrorless body and then try to stick a 600mm f4 lens on it, you're probably looking at, I know, 8-10 grand or something ridiculous. So in that, if you compare it that way, it's a good price. But yeah, I wouldn't if someone came to me and said, I'm interested in getting photography, I'd find it hard to suggest a camera for £2,200 is where I would struggle.
But then if you mentioned
Yeah.
second hand, when we were at the show a couple of months ago, I saw a D5 for
Mm.
£250, and
Mhm.
there was a 70-200 lens L series for, I think they wanted 400 quid for it. So
Mm.
650 quid, you've got a very good camera and lens. And, okay, lenses can deteriorate. I remember you showing us one of your camera lenses that have got all the fungus in it, Ian, was that time? But
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
quite rare, isn't it? So, lenses are good. But yeah, I think it's one of these horses for courses situations. That camera may very well be the ideal, perfect for certain people with special abilities. Um, Entry level camera, I think you should look at second hand, and that's how you
Yeah.
start off. Because if you bugger it up, you're not throwing away a load of money to start with, and then you can progress. I think we all started that way. So
I mean, I've just been looking at
interesting.
the producers. I've just been looking at while you've been talking, looking at the website and the pictures of producers. They're very nice. They are very nice. So, but if I had £2,000, would I buy it?
Yeah, but the whole it produces nice images. There's not a bad modern. There's not a bad modern
No.
camera anymore. There just isn't. You know.
So I think you just
There's a
go.
few bad old
I think you get
photographers
back
like me
down.
still around, though. But
You get back down to Sarah's opening thing. She's an enthusiast. She's used the thing before, and it really does cater for those sort of people. She's
Oh, it's going to sell, and it was interesting hearing Sarah say they discontinued it. Well, there's obviously demand, and it's that whole compact camera revival and the bridge revival. There's obviously the demand. It will sell. Otherwise Sony wouldn't do it. Yeah.
And honestly, one of the things that I wanted to discuss this evening is that everyone wants to get the wildlife photo, and a lot of people are trying to get it on their mobile phones. There is a bit of a move by some younger people to go away from the phones and get back to what they call old school stuff, which is what we call like 15 years ago. But it's just I hate seeing people getting right up close to wildlife with a phone, and they're not going to get the shot when they could probably, for less money than they paid for their phone, go to MPB or LCE, one of the others, and get a second-hand bridge camera, of whatever brand. I do love the Sony one. The Panasonic does produce good images, and I did use it for a while after I had a really bad car accident and I was even more immobilized. I literally could not lift my cameras at all. I think it's a great way to actually get the shots that people want without endangering themselves or upsetting the balance in nature. So there's a whole range of places that it could go to. I miss the old Fuji Fine Pics. That's where I started. Fujifilm, please bring out a bridge camera again.
okay, so let's throw it over to Sony. Send us a camera to check out for you, and we tell you what our thoughts are after handling the thing. And anyone out there who's using a bridge camera, again, what do you think? How do you find it fits in with your photographic style? And send us some images. We'd be delighted to discuss that with you. Okay. It's funny you mentioned what you're saying there, Sarah, because we were in a discussion about this earlier about people taking photographs of wildlife. Ian, you were saying about landscaping that they have to get exactly the shot they see in magazines or books or on social medias or whatever. And does that stifle imagination? Does that stifle skill? Is it taking away your own interpretation of a scene or capturing a wildlife? What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, Sarah brought this discussion up around kind of trophy hunting for wildlife, and I'll let her go into that. But on a landscape level, you do see it. People, they want to do the honeypot shots, say Durdle Door, Godrevy, St Michael's Mount, or wherever it be, and you do wonder, why can't people just find their own honeypot kind of locations and do their own thing sometimes? Yeah,
But it's
I
also
don't know.
like street photography. People go out on the streets now and just want to just push a camera into people's faces or just take pictures willy-nilly without really thinking. And there's so many photo walks now. People just going on photo walks. Now,
Hmm.
I like a photo walk, but I couldn't be doing them all the time because I to pay money to go on a photo walk, you don't actually. I I concentrate better when I'm by myself and going around. But you say about landscapes, it's street photography, it's wildlife. People are messing around. I'm not sure what they're wanting to get out of it. They should do their own thing.
Yeah, there was that controversy with the landscape photographer of the year, wasn't there? There was that street shot. You mentioned street photography. There was that street shot of that the person kind of walking across a really geometric, colourful kind of building. And
Yeah.
there was a shortlisted shot in the last competition, and the controversy was that there was also a shortlisted shot the year before that was almost identical, and it goes back to someone seeing the shot and goes, "Oh, I'm going to go and do it myself," rather than try and do something different. You know.
That's right.
You've
Landscape photographer had that problem. There was the people complaining that people were just awarding people who went to the honey spots, the spots where there were really good ones, like Canary Wharf or in our place Gas Street Basin, and getting the same shot but slightly different light.
you've often been hounded by poppy hunters, haven't you, Damo?
Oh,
Trying to
poppy
find
hunters. Oh yes, people. Yeah, were poppy hunters. I mean, I think if you sometimes now, if you turn up in the morning, you think you're going to be there by yourself, and suddenly you find there's about 5 or 6 people with you. Where they all come from.
You can kind of liken that. I'm really struck by the whole thing of it's the poppy thing, and I've seen it before when there's been a poppy field around us. But it's an addiction. It's becoming an addiction. It's all fed by social media. With the poppies, it's almost like it's opium, but they need the photo, and it's that whole thing of getting it out on social media and getting the likes, and is if that's the only way that they can feel good. And there are some people who will push their stuff out there with narratives that aren't necessarily true to that person. I know of a number of wildlife photographers who are part of various different WhatsApp groups and Insta chat groups, and they are literally sharing with people not just across the UK, but people they know outside of the UK, exact locations of bird nests, of where branching owls are, of where fox dens, badger sets, and anything like that. If a white squirrel turns up somewhere, it will suddenly be hounded. I think there was one in Dorking one year that so many people were turning up to try and see it. It eventually went shooting off across the road and got run over. But if I had just a halfpenny for every person who, when I've been in the royal parks recently, has asked me, "Where are the owls?" then I'd be very rich by now, and I've had enough of it. Really,
The trouble is, it's going to get worse, Sarah. You can't
it is,
stop it. It's going to
it
get
is,
worse. And the thing is, I think, as Ian was saying, you just have to exercise caution. And I just go quiet, Sarah. I'm very quiet when people ask me, and I'm very, because I just leave them to work it out themselves. People need to do the detective work and work it out and stuff. But trouble is,
you,
they want
you
to
need
know.
to keep them award-winning fields to yourself, Damo. I understand. That's a good point. Yes,
yeah,
Ian, you were saying.
I actually,
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think we do have a responsibility as
yeah,
photographers as well, though. There is, and I'm not saying don't put stuff on social media ever, but I think there is a temptation when you do get a fantastic shot that you want to, rightly so, people want to share it with the world. Oh, look at this shot that I got, because you're proud of it and you want people to enjoy it like you enjoyed it. However, I think there is a responsibility. Just ask yourself. I was very fortunate a few years ago to photograph buzzards mating, buzzards on the nest. Those images have never gone on social media because I did not want people to go, where are they? Or work out where they were. So I had a responsibility to protect the species, the wildlife. I can still enjoy the images, but I didn't have to just put them on social media and go, oh, look at this amazing image of, butters mating and stuff. So there is a responsibility on us as well as photographers.
I think
Wasn't
you're
that,
absolutely
wasn't
right
that,
there.
sorry, wasn't that one of the excuses that those two guys for chopping down the cedar tree, that they got fed up with all the images and the people going for it, that they decided to go and chop it down? It's just,
Sycamore Gap, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, you're right, Ian. We do have a responsibility, and there's no harm in doing your photography responsibly. And
I have noted.
as you say, keep the stuff safe, keep the positions private. We're laughing and joking about it, but this is serious because it can do a lot of harm to the wildlife.
It is. It's doing irreparable damage, not just to wildlife, but to locations as well, where you've got, especially with the pressure on our environment from the climate change. If you've got loads of people tramping up a hillside that's parched from drought, and you're potentially doing even more harm, and it just because they got to go to a certain point and they've only got that time of year to go and do it.
Damo?
When you go to Wildlife Photographer of the Year, I'm always looking at the pictures that the people have taken not far from their front door. And there's usually 2 or 3 pictures that people have taken very close to their house, either an urban fox or a dormouse. Those are the ones that I can remember. And I just think to myself, those are certainly different pictures, and people just don't think outside the box.
Yeah, I mean, with some of those images, you do now actually have other people riding that wave. So there are some workshops and things now being run of doing urban foxes, and I know that the foxes are baited to come to places for people to get those photos, and that's what people seem to want in this sort of trophy hunting thing. They're seeing the pictures that people have got that have got them awards or been shortlisted, or have got loads of likes on social media. But very often those pieces have taken either many years of fieldcraft, or they've actually taken they've been taken in a paid for hide. So going into a park or a garden, you can't actually get the same thing.
Okay. Right. So I think borrowing from your earlier mention, Sarah, I think the Hippocratic Oath, do no harm when you're taking your photographs, would apply to photographers. Okay, I think we'll wrap it up there. Go around the board. Damo, what's your plans for the next month?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about any plans at the moment. I'm sure something will materialise. Going on holiday to Devon in 2 weeks' time, so I'm looking forward to pictures along the Jurassic Coast down there and in the countryside.
Great stuff. Ian, what's your plans?
Photo Fest, 4 weeks today at Bath Spa University. Went last year, really enjoyed it. 4 speakers, can't remember who they are. Jack Lodge is one of them. It was really good last year, really enjoyed it. It's just a day of talks. So if you're, worth checking out because, it's really good.
Link up and a link soon that might like to join you on that. That might be good. Sarah, what are you up to?
I am out capturing wildlife again. We're into dispersal time. It's come a little bit early, and dispersal time is when the young of various species this year, and I'm particularly focused on our kestrels in the royal parks and the foxes, and actually seeing the behavioural changes and seeing if I can keep track of some of them as they move on. Aside from that, more SheClicks stuff.
Great stuff. Ian, where can we get hold of you?
On a third photography on YouTube.
Great stuff. Damo, where can we get hold of you?
Damo. Just put Damo in. I think it comes up. It's pretty unique now.
Okay. And Sarah, where can we get hold of you?
Just look up Sarah Longes.
Okay, that's great. And here, of course, Flashbang Wallop, you can catch us here at the address, or my name, martinkelly@mac.com. Okay, thanks to everyone for coming along tonight, all our viewers. We'll see you all next month. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.